Hey, this is Ronnie, and this is the Rescue Ronnie Show. Today, I got my good boy, Albert Chavez, on the show, United Wholesale Lending, and we're gonna be talking about something. Albert, tell me about what you have made up.
Awesome. So I came up with the concept of the home buying process called BUYOLIGY. And basically that's a study or art of buying a home.
I love it. Let's check it out. All right, Albert, we got 9 steps here, and I think they're really, really legit, and I think they're gonna add quite a bit of value. So let's start with number 1. Number 1, which we all hate, starting a budget. Tell me about talking about a budget.
Starting budget is the hardest part of the whole process because it really takes the Band-Aid off of what you're doing as a consumer or future buyer, of what you're spending and what you're saving. So the reality is the first step is just to sit down with your spouse or by yourself and find out where your money's going, right? How much money you're spending at Starbucks or necessities or just fluffing around. And you want to basically see how much you're going to save so that you can make the next step of the BUYOLIGY process.
Absolutely. All right, so number 2 is start saving, which is a very, very difficult time. Everybody knows how much they make,
right,
but they don't know how much is going out. So that's one of the big points.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is once you start the budget, you're gonna figure out that maybe you can cut back a little bit on those things you're spending a lot of money on, which is Starbucks. I say Starbucks because a lot of people do spend $3, $4, $5 per
a day, at least, right?
per cup. And so you can realize that you gotta figure out where you're at to figure out where you're gonna go. So once you figure out the budget, you'll realize that you can start saving maybe $200-300 a month.
Right.
Maybe we talk about the car that you bought.
Yeah. So I just bought a hybrid car. I'm saving about, I was driving an F-150, it was getting 12 miles to the gallon. Now I'm driving a hybrid. They were equal in cost, but I'm literally saving $300 a month because I get 40 miles to the gallon, which is like, it's just making those little smart choices and putting yourself in the driver's seat rather than in the trunk.
Absolutely. And then on that point, regarding saving is you just gotta put the magnifying glass on what you want to do and where you want to go. But examples of cutting down expenses is really important.
Right. And overviewing, put it out on the table and overview it, because most people kind of push these things to the back burner. And my wife always says, she's reading this book that says, eat a frog. Eat a frog. The first thing, do the things that you hate the most in the beginning so that you just knock them out.
Absolutely.
So eat your frog. So number 3, see a reputable lender. And I'll let you speak on this because this is super, super important. But first, I want to talk about why it's so important, because I work with lenders all the time, and I see people that work with lenders, and they can save you money. Like, there are certain things that you can do or other people can do that some other lenders are very limited, especially like with big banks and things of that sort. So you can move things around, which is very, very, very important.
So on that note, so what I find is when people come meet with me, it's kind of like the feeling of going to a dentist's office, right? You go to the dentist's office, the last thing you want to do is get drilled on, right? And that pain and that smell. When people come to my office, they have that scared look because they don't really know. They don't really know, can I do it now? But they start with a budget, saving money a little bit, and then seeing someone, actually sitting down with someone and getting all those tough questions out there, like, can I buy now? What do I need to do? And
how much money do I need?
Are we ready for the process? Because it is pretty intrusive. It's very daunting, but I think if you sit down with somebody that you can love and trust and just build that relationship with you, you're gonna feel more comfortable after you're done meeting with that person.
Absolutely. So number 4, this is people's biggest nightmare, but it really doesn't have to be, is getting your credit pooled.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't have to be that big of a deal as long as you put it out on the table. We keep talking about putting things out on the table and eat that frog. You got to just get it out, right?
Well, here's the big thing. After you sit down with a lender and they decide that you're ready to pull your credit, the biggest thing that our responsibility is to give you hope, right? Let's just figure out where you're at. A lot of times people, they've had the stuff in their past where they weren't really proud of, or this bill they forgot to pay. You know what? Everything's very forgiving. And over time, believe it or not, people's credit scores are a lot better. So the reason why we pull your credit is to look at your credit scores and also see what kind of revolving credit you do have, so that we can anticipate whether you're ready to buy now, 3 to 6 months, or maybe later on in the year. But the idea really is to give you some hope.
And once you get it out there, then you can put a plan in place
Absolutely.
to fix it. If you don't put it out there, you
Yep.
can't fix it, right?
Right.
So the next process, number 5, is actually getting pre-approved for your loan, which you are the expert on this. So young man, I'll let you speak on that.
So there's two things, we'll brief over it. There's pre-approval and pre-qualification. So pre-qualification is basically you going to an online app or talking to someone on the phone, and then you give them data and they give you a pre-qualification over the phone. We're talking about going a little bit deeper. So after you've started a budget, started saving money, saw a lender, got your credit pulled, the next step is for us to verify your income and your assets. You have to have your lender verify this. It's super important because there are a lot of variables in a transaction of how we calculate income, where we verify, the funds to close. And so if someone doesn't verify this stuff, you could be making a huge mistake and not actually getting pre-approved properly. So the idea is to get pre-approved properly, so then the next step with us is to hire an awesome local lender.
And that's number 6, by the way. So hire a local realtor, which is Albert was talking about. It's so important that they're local because they know the local lay of the land, right? They know where the parks are if you have kids, or we go back to those non-negotiables. If you want restaurants around, you want to, like a Roseville area where it's surrounded with restaurants, that's a non-negotiable. We go out to eat 5 days a week. So I can tell you what restaurants are there, or your local realtor can tell you what restaurants are in Vacaville, right? So so that's very, very important. And then so number 7 is visit your neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
Right?
We talked about that a little bit. So the idea is, on my behalf, talking to Ronnie, who's a local realtor, is it's really important that you go look at a neighborhood you want to live in, so that you can actually get the feel of it. If there's small kids or there's teenagers, or just the kind of feel of the parks in the neighborhood or schools. Super important.
And this is, you don't even have to do this with your realtor. The seeing houses, absolutely, but go drive by in the morning, in the middle of the day, unannounced, and at night, so you see the lay of the land again, and what really does this neighborhood offer. And if you have kids, are there teenagers across the street? Are there, is there crime in the area? And that's something that your local realtor and your lender will definitely pass on to you. But when you start going to see these houses, this stuff is important. So, and then we get down to the actual nitty gritty is submitting an offer and getting it accepted. So one of the things that Albert and I do, which some probably other people do, but we create a video that that is sent to the listing agent on the receiving side. We have you write a letter. We have you, and then we validate the lender, we validate the real estate agent, and we validate the buyer, which the consumer, which ties us all together and makes us a group, a cohesive group that really, really is working on a well-oiled machine.
Absolutely. So we call it the triangle of trust, or the team that we're building to help you get your offer submitted and accepted.
Yep. And then we finally get down to the good times, is you get the keys to your house and you find your dream home.
Whoop, whoop.
And you're excited.
Absolutely.
And you're happy and you're having a good time.
Absolutely. This is the fun part, because after all the stress of going through the process of buying a home and getting it accepted and then getting the keys, is the next stress you're going to have is actually the moving process. That's a whole different process. But our job really is to make this very simplistic. Biology, there's 9 steps, and at the very end, obviously, you get your keys to your dream home. That's it.
I like it, my brother.
Awesome.
So we have, that's biology for you. Hopefully we added some value to you. And if you have any questions, please reach out. We would happily help you out. And as always, have the best day of your life, and adios.